Good evening, Pittsburgh sports fans, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Edward and Tracy. What's going on tonight, gentlemen? How we doing? Staying cool out there?
Yes, sir. It's very cool in my house.
Yeah, how yous doing? It is not cool out there. It is not cool at all.
Pretty toasty.
Pretty toasty. Love the weather though.
Yeah. It's gonna end.
Like like an octopi on the rock out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You try to walk.
It's gonna end at some time, and we know it's gonna end sometime, but hopefully it stays around for a little bit longer.
That's why I have nothing but hunting on all my TVs, Billy. All fall time hunting. I cannot wait till the temperature comes down and leaves change, and it's nothing but football and hunting. I'm ready.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so we're all about football. It's training camps underway. Today was the first day for pads, and it was what was it? It was it was first day for pads, and I forget what else. What else did they do?
They didn't do a goal line, did they?
No, they didn't do goal line. I forget.
Backs on backers?
Yeah, backs on backers. It was backs on backers.
They did goal line today.
Okay, they did goal line today.
They start off what's called 7 for 7.
Yeah. Okay, so they did goal line today.
No.
So no, they didn't, or yes, they did.
No, they did. Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show, and he said that it's the way they start practice every day. They do 7 plays from inside the 2.
Oh, yes. I missed that Pat McAfee show today. I did record it, but I'll be watching it here. So, a lot of things going on. There's been a little bit of fights. I heard, was it Robert Woods and JPJ got into a little bit of a scuffle. I haven't heard too much else, though. I mean, I know has been other skirmishes and fights between linemen and stuff like that, but I mean that's normal stuff. I mean, that's normal stuff. So
I guess McCormick was the odds-on favorite to be in the first fight when they had pads on. That's what Rodgers was saying.
Oh, okay.
He was actually he was interesting to watch.
Well, yeah, I mean, I heard what Rodgers said. I mean, he was, he said like there's, being out here in Latrobe, there's nothing like it. I know he did say this is the first time that he put pads on this early in camp in a very long time.
Yeah.
He said that, normally like with Mike McCarthy, it didn't happen. It would happen like the following week, So he said this is the first time that, he had pads on this early in a very long time. So, but I mean, there's competition. I mean, we know, especially particularly, with the young linemen, a little bit of concern with Broderick Jones. I know he had a soft tissue injury. He missed some practices. Returned today, but they said he didn't participate in the contact drills at all. So don't know what to make of that. I tell you what, though, what I've seen of him, we know. I mean, we've talked amongst each other since last time we talked. Not very promising. He doesn't look he looks pretty out of sorts and looks like he forgot how to play left tackle. I'm just saying.
The video we all looked at, that was a lookout block for sure.
I couldn't believe it, honestly. I thought it was fake when you sent it.
No.
And you can tell if you look back at that video just real quick, you can tell his body language is terrible too.
Well, he anticipated the rush, and I think that Highsmith, as professional as he is, made a move off his move, and that's all he had to do.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's going to be a lot of competition, I think, among these young linemen. I mean, there's been, and they added a few guys too, like Lou Nichols and Kevin Folsch to their roster. So, and they got rid of, they released Cordell Patterson. What'd you guys think of that?
They never really utilized him, so.
Right.
I mean, I think they had different hopes for him on the kickoff, and it just never materialized.
Well, there was talk about there's talk about Roman Wilson possibly returning some. We've heard about Calvin Austin as well.
I mean, we've seen Calvin Austin. I thought he did just fine. He's just a little dude who runs real fast, right? That's what he is. We don't have power or anything. I mean, he has just as much of a shot as anybody with that speed he has.
Well, I was listening to Steelers Nation Radio today, and they were talking. It was kind of like their after practice review that they were going through, and I forget who it was. It was a panel of guys that were at practice today, and that were watching. Oh, one was Jerry O was out there as well, and he was part of this panel. But one of them said, I forget who it was, but they said the one thing that I've noticed with Peyton Wilson is that I haven't noticed him, and that's not too promising. I'm not happy to hear that. I'm hoping. I mean, I know it's early in camp, but I'm hoping that. That doesn't become a a trend here in training camp I'm sorry, Roman Wilson. That he said one thing I heard about Roman, or one thing I've noticed about Roman Wilson. I said Peyton Wilson. I meant Roman Wilson.
Yeah.
One thing he said one thing I've noticed about Roman Wilson is that I really haven't noticed him. So we know they're throwing. Rodgers has been throwing a lot to DK Metcalf. We've been hearing that.
Yep.
Also been hearing that Robert Woods has been getting some passes his way. But I know first couple practices for Rodgers were a little bit challenging. Right? He had a couple picks on the 7-on-7.
It's a little bit shaky.
But I think he's had some good practices. I'll tell you what, I don't know whether you guys have heard this, but I heard Will Howard has been looking pretty good.
I've not heard that, but
Yeah.
I'll take your esteemed word for it.
Yeah, well, that's what I heard. So. What I heard. So, but yeah, I mean, it's underway. I mean, anything else we want to talk about with camp? I mean, we're still in the early stages of camp here, So,
I think our concern for line is really at the left tackle position. If Jones can come to it, and if not, it's looking like an Anderson guy might actually have a legitimate shot of starting there.
I said, today, I said there's two guys right now that I'm concerned about on the Steelers. I said Broderick Jones and Joey Porter Jr. I mean, there's. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some other people that I'm concerned about, but those are my biggest concerns. Joey Porter, I mean, the most penalized in the league, 18 penalties in the last 2 seasons, only 2 interceptions. I mean, he's got to get that under control, and I don't know how much more they're going to want to put up with that. I really,
I also want to see what Trice does, if he does anything and falls into, I don't know, 4th position, right, and does something, makes some type of contribution.
I don't think he makes the team, Trace.
He might not.
So I heard there was a Myles Garrett chant on the Pat McAfee show as well.
It was quite funny.
Did we? Is it family? No,
it's not family friendly.
Okay,
It rhymes with truck, Myles Garrett, Myles Garrett.
They were wishing him luck.
Yes, much luck and much love.
Yeah.
The Steelers do enter this season with the cheapest offense in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. I mean, here's the thing. I know we have a question that somebody wants us to pose on the air. Aaron Rodgers, 28 touchdowns last year.
Danbury.
I got to be honest with you. I'm not happy Wednesday, Daniel. Happy Wednesday, brother. I got to be honest. I'm concerned. I am concerned because when I look at the Jets, I kind of almost think they had more weapons last year, and that's concerning for me. That he's on a team now and with this whole line situation, this is not good. It's not good that Broderick Jones is behind a learning curve in a position that he played for how long, and he's moved back there, and now it's like I don't know. It's like learning how to drive, and then not driving for 6 years, and then trying to get back. I don't know. He looks like he's lost out there. And now you're hearing that he's injured. He's a soft tissue injury. I don't know who's gonna, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm very concerned about this line. So
I mean, you should be, because it's going to be it's the biggest problem on the team.
well, and I think at this point in time, you've got to look at some things here, and you might really consider. I mean, if you want to have any contention here, guys, you might want to consider potential trades and just to enhance this team, because I tell you what, it's not good. It's not a good situation right now. I don't think it's
Well, if they find a serviceable left tackle, I think their offensive line is going to be really good this year.
I think the biggest problems they have are left and right tackle, because Fautano didn't look that. I mean, I watched a couple.
If he doesn't get hurt, that's a great point, Edward.
No, I think honestly they should move him in. They had a big story on NFL.com about tackle switching to guard and how the guards are upset. Hold on one second.
Dash.
Well, folks watching at home, you could read his lips there. You knew what he said on that.
Sorry about that.
So he shut up. He listened. So,
Yeah.
but
I mean that's Fautano's got to be bumped in, and Trace, you're right. They've got to look for, they have $32 million in cap. I think you're right, Trace. They got to find, because somebody's going to dump a tackle. Somebody's going to dump a big name, because they're unhappy with him, like the guy that the Raiders dumped. Apparently, Fred in a kissing booth in the shower, which was a bizarre story, but we'll get to that during the NFL news. Yeah, Christian Wilkins it was bizarre. Max Crosby came out with a statement. Anyway, but I think Trace is right. I think the if you find somebody who can play left tackle,
right,
because I think it's just a turnstile, man.
It's concerning, I mean, and now he's hurt. I mean, maybe that's a blessing in disguise in a way. I hate to say that, but I mean, it's just he looks lost out there. He looks absolutely. It's like he never played that position, and he played it in Georgia in the SEC. You would think that he's, I don't know that
McGovern kid out there.
I just don't think that his competition in the SEC is what it's going to be at this level, and I know that's a bold statement, but I think that's what we're seeing. He relied on just his sheer size and probably scheme in Alabama, and it doesn't work here.
Georgia.
That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
That's right.
Booty traps. You're always correcting me. But I think you're right, Chase. They're going to have to find somebody. And Bill, you're right as well.
Who's out there?
I don't know. That's why they have scouts. Somebody has to be scouting all of these rosters and looking at the final determinations and seeing who's going to be the odd person out and start going after that person.
Well, and I think wide receiver too. I think you're wide receiver. You've got to. I mean, you can't be feeling good about this whole situation.
No, God, no.
I know we talked about this. We covered tight ends last week. I know we talked a little bit about Jonnu Smith, and you don't have the straight line tight ends anymore. I get it. You got these tight ends that are more like receivers now, and maybe they're looking at Jonnu Smith as to being that number 2. But I just still think even in that point, I mean, you still have a very thin wide out room, and we're going to be covering that today.
We talked about a four tight end set that they've been working on. Rogers today on the McAfee show.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised because I'm not surprised at all because they have a surplus of tight ends right now.
Yeah, Washington, Hayward, Smith, and Freiermuth. Yeah. They've run sets like that, 4-0 sets.
Yeah.
You're
right.
So they're not happy. They're not happy with the wide receiver room.
No, and they shouldn't be. But you had multiple chances to upgrade and fix it, and you didn't do it. So I don't know what
Yeah.
Hey, maybe they're looking at who's going to be cut loose or who's not going to sign. Maybe they're looking at that. Maybe maybe they do have a plan. I don't know, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's guys available out there.
They've definitely not shared it with us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they're maybe in a way taking a gamble with this, but it is what it is. I mean, just get somebody. How about that? Just get somebody. So, but
yeah, you can do a perfect analogy to the military. What's your acceptable risk? Obviously, Tomlin's acceptable risk is no wide receivers.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's not a risk that you want to. I think you want to.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah, that's not something you want to, especially this day and age. Maybe in 1994, but not now. Not now.
Yeah.
So. Not now. So, all right. Well, I mean, any other training camp news? I mean, I know we're kind of, but I mean, really, yes.
I think the news is there's no injuries. That's the news.
Yeah, I was
Well,
just going
that's
to
a big
say that. I
point.
mean, we haven't had really any aside from Broderick Jones, but like I said, it's a soft tissue injury. He just missed Sunday. Um, you know, so I don't know. But all right, well, let's get into running backs and receivers because I know that's what we were going to cover today. And let's break it down, guys. Okay, so yeah, I mean, like I said, we're going to talk about receivers. Obviously, they're a little thin on that. But let's go right into running backs right now. So, I think obviously Jaylen Warren is expected to be part of the prominency of the running back position. Now, do I think he's going to share some lead duties? I do. I think he will. I think even Caleb Johnson is, he's kind of poised, I think, to maybe have a significant role. I don't know. Is Caleb Johnson to you guys maybe a guy that could challenge Jaylen Warren for that top position? I don't know. I can't say that for sure. But
The scheme, right, Billy? Depends on the scheme, how they utilize these two.
I thought I heard that Caleb Johnson. I haven't watched much tape on him. I mean, I watched a little bit, but how's his pass blocking, Ed? I'm sure you.
And that's the point that he himself brought up in the when they had the mini camp.
Because the mini camp, I know he said he needs to work on his pass blocking. I didn't see a lot of I didn't watch a lot of Iowa to really be. I mean, I've seen some of his runs.
He was not a. That's not what he was there for. Just like you were just going to say, he's a runner. He's a good runner.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't at Iowa to pass block. He was out there to carry the rock. And,
Right.
So, but he's going to have to take on that role now that he's in the NFL, and especially if he's splitting the duties up with Jaylen Warren. The other guy you got to look at too is the veteran Kenneth Gainwell. He provides some depth at that position. What do you do? What do you think of him? What do you make of him? Yeah, I haven't heard really much of anything from the backs, and I've tuned in to Steelers Nation Radio. I've tuned into NFL Network. I know they were in Latrobe today. And you haven't heard much about the backs. I mean, you've heard a little bit here and there, but nothing like newsworthy. So
I just think that there's a couple things to worry about. Jaylen Warren with the extra carries he's obviously going to get. How does he react? Body-wise, ball security, et cetera, et cetera. The new kid, how does he react when he has the first linebacker he used to pick up? How does he react? Kenneth Gainwell is a very dynamic player. We all know that. He's good out of the backfield. He's good, good change of pace runner. Does Arthur Smith utilize him? Because he brought in Cordero Patterson to be that kind of role, right? Yeah. So if they utilize him, I think a lot of pressures on Arthur Smith. I really think so. He's got that offense to where to where it's going to be able to use these players and actually highlight. I mean, they can bring anybody they want in. It just depends on how they coach, right?
Right. And I would give you that, Ed, fully, but I really believe that Rodgers is going to have a lot of say-so in this offense. And I think there's going to be a lot of – I mean, I know there's been questionable. He didn't let Russell Wilson do that. Totally different quarterbacks. Totally different. I mean, I get it. Both veterans, but I just feel like there's more – there's going to be more trust with Rodgers doing
because one's a 4-time NFL MVP, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
right.
And I mean, I just feel there's more, and he's been playing a lot longer, and I feel like there's going to be more trust with him than Russell Wilson. I just, and I mean, let's face it. I mean, Russell Wilson was good and everything like that, but he's no Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying.
Nope.
So, and I don't know, but I almost, I've said it before. I almost feel like, Arthur Smith ought to take a little bit of a pay cut, because it's like, hey, guy, you're not going to, your job's, your job's still really important, but you're going to have some of that, some of that play calling and constant coaching and philosophy and emphasis in the offense, and it's going to be limited a little bit with who we got now.
Right, and they also talked about the Rodgers' ability to quote unquote abuse the hell out of the play clock. So I mean, can he get back to that rhythm? He looks like, I mean, from all things I've seen, his interviews, he looks like he's in a good headspace, which is,
he is
90% of the battle with him. And,
right.
And I just think it's going to come down to exactly what you're saying, Billy. How much autonomy does he have?
Well, it seems to me like he's having a blast at camp. I mean, like I've seen him. Hey, because I was up in Wisconsin. I was up for the last couple years of him being in, and I saw local news. I saw a lot of training camps, them interviewing him when he was a Packer. And he was just kind of like, it was like he was just kind of going through the motions with the interviews, like saying, like the cookie cutter phrases and things like that to just get through the interview. I don't see that this time. He seems like he's really enjoying himself in the camaraderie. It seems like he's really he's immersed himself in Yinzerhood. He's really immersed himself in the whole way of life. I mean, we know, Trace, it's a way of life. It's not a
It is a way of life. But I also think that Rodgers learned from the first time.
Ed's just rolling his eyes and just like,
I think he's just answering the questions exactly what he's supposed to say, whether or not things are happening, William.
The other thing is that
I think he's a different guy than what I've seen him in recent years. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ed. He seems like he's really immersed himself in his, he seems like he's happy to be, he's having a blast.
That could be also, there also could be a flip side to that. He's having so much fun because he knows this is it. So the scenario is they come out, they go 9-8, 10-7. If they don't get one of the top 4 seeds, they just can't advance, because you can't beat Baltimore, can't beat Buffalo, can't beat Kansas City. Maybe that 4th, maybe you get the fifth seed, you get that 4th, that other division winner. Yeah. But I mean, they really have to stack some wins to make it in the playoffs. And he's happy because he's I think it's his last year. Yeah. And then what do you do?
Right. I mean, but when do they play Baltimore? It's later in the season. You say that we can't beat them, but they might not even have their quarterback. So how are we not going to beat them again?
Can't beat them in the playoffs. Can't beat them in the playoffs. Can't beat Buffalo in the playoffs. Can't beat Kansas City in the playoffs, because you've lost every single year.
I don't know about Baltimore, Eddie. I'll give you the other teams for right now.
Yeah, you can't beat Baltimore. They absolutely destroyed the Steelers. That was the most dominating half I've ever seen in football.
Yeah, things have changed.
It's 21-0. It was embarrassing. It made him change. It cost Minka his job. I mean, so that's the harsh reality.
Let me throw a couple other running backs they've got on the roster. They've got Trey Sermon. He's currently listed as a running back. You got Evan Hall. I mentioned earlier with training camp news, you signed that Lou Nichols, who is also a running back. You got Max Hurlman, who's also on the running back. I mean, these guys are probably going to be in practice squad, but
yeah, I think they're only keeping 3. So
yeah. I mean, I think you're going to have on this squad, when it's all said and done, the dust is settled, you're going to have Jalen Warren, Caleb Johnson, and Kenneth Gainwell. I don't see anybody else beating out any of those 3.
Well, they'll have 1 or 2 in the practice squad for injury's sake.
Right.
And then they'll also use Hayward sometimes doing stuff in the backfield too.
Yep.
And some of these guys might be, your Lou Nichols, your Evan Halls. Some of these guys might be turned into special team specialists.
I mean, because it's to fill out special teams.
Right. So, that's these guys, just because maybe they're listed, 5th or down the line on the depth chart of running back, doesn't necessarily mean they can't make the team. I mean, you're going to need some special teams guys. We know Danny Smith is he's all about seeing who he can get in there and who who can't make the cut as a position player while you're going to be a specialist on special teams, And so,
sure.
So that's so it's not all hope is gone for these guys, but I think when the dust settles, I think you're looking at Jalen Warren, Caleb Johnson, and Kenneth Gainwell. Now, is that going to be the depth chart? What I just said? No, it could be. Who knows? Jalen Warren might be a number 2. Kenneth Gainwell. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? That's the beauty of camp. Is you.
I think you can actually say that for a fact. Those are the 3 that are going to be on the active roster.
That's a fact.
For sure. Yeah. Where do they fall? I don't know. Do you see Jalen Warren potentially getting beat out. You see a Caleb Johnson maybe beating him out. I mean,
The way it works in the NFL and the way I think the Steelers are going to work it, 80% of the load and carries are going to go to the kid and Jalen Warren, and Kenneth Gainwell is going to get 20%. That's probably what.
Well, I just think Jalen Warren's more than likely going to be back number one, just for the simple fact that he knows the offense. He knows that he's been playing in it for a long period of time. Caleb Johnson is a rookie. Kenneth Gainwell just come over from Philly. So I mean, Jalen Warren, for me, it's his position to lose at this point.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because he's not been in that position before. What does it do to his body? What does it do to his, all that stuff? It's going to be
showed him training on the beach in the offseason, which was pretty cool. He's took a page out of Troy Polamalu. I know he used to do that training barefoot on the beach.
Yeah,
because it was very low impact on your joints and everything like that. And he was like, he was going out like Tide. I don't know if you saw, like the Tide was coming in and he's running. He's
yep.
He had the ball in his hand, and like the Tide was smacking him. So he was, I don't know. I guess you could get forceful Tide coming in. I guess you could work on a little ball security on that. I guess. I don't know. So, but
great exfoliation too, Billy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yep. All right. What else? Anything you guys want to add to our running back assessment? All right, let's move to wideouts. Okay. Now, without, the obvious, who we're going to start off with, obviously, is DK Metcalf. He's your key receiver in the Steelers offense. He's the guy that's going to get the ball a lot. Yes, he is. He's going to be the number one target for Mr. Aaron Rodgers for sure. I mean, he's going to be looking to see where he's at. Calvin Austin III is also projected to have a notable role in the whole receiving core. Where that is, I don't know. Is he your true number two? I don't know. He's had an okay camp thus far, from what I've heard. Another guy that's kind of an older statesman, so to speak, has been Robert Woods, and he has gotten a lot of balls thrown to him in the last few days, and just judging from what I've been listening to on Steelers Nation Radio, it seems like between the two receivers that Rodgers has had the most chemistry with thus far has been DK Metcalf and Robert Woods. So I don't know. We've talked about this before. Robert Woods to me is kind of like a Van Jefferson. He's kind of like your Van Jefferson from last year. Maybe a little bit more talent. Maybe slightly, I don't know, slightly faster, slightly better route runner.
What do you run think? A route, I think Aaron Rodgers can put it on.
Yeah. What do you think? Is that a fair assessment of Robert Woods? Is he slightly better than what Van Jefferson was in pretty much all facets of being a wideout, or am I a little off on that?
I mean, I think it's a safe statement. I think it is. It's just the fact that the progressions. I mean, what are his progressions going to be? If DK is, because I'm defense. I'm defense quarter. I'm taking DK away. Sorry, you're not throwing to him. You're just not.
Right. That's why the progression should start from the inside and work out.
Exactly what I was leading to. But however, what does that also call for, Trace? A little bit more time, right?
Yeah.
That is not on the side, Eddie.
I just remember Robert Woods when he played in the Rams. And back when he played on the Rams, man, he was a pretty premier wideout.
He comes from his ACL, so we'll see.
Yeah. At one point in time, he was kind of, he was the talk of the league there for a little while. So, I mean,
no doubt Stafford liked him.
Yeah, he definitely did like him. And there was a lot of, so. Ben Skoranek is another guy who's listed on the roster. We've heard Roman Wilson. Like I said today, I heard that comment. And he said, the one thing I noticed about Roman Wilson is I haven't noticed him much. Not good. Not good to hear from the prognosticators watching the practice. Not a good thing to hear from them. You got Scotty Miller as well, guys.
I don't think he makes it though.
I don't think he does either. potentially maybe a special teamer.
Never did it in his career, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think Ben
UFL bound.
probably. I think Ben Skoranek has a leg up on him because he's such a good special teamer.
I was just going to say that Ben Skoranek, I think, he has a lot of experience playing on special teams. He's been on the squad for a little while now, and he has a little bit. He knows the offense. Roman Wilson is behind the learning curve, guys. He didn't play it down last year. Okay, let's be honest here. Roman Wilson.
Didn't rumor have it that he couldn't pass the test on Fridays?
He did not pass that test, is what I heard.
Yeah, so that's not good. That's not good. You've got Keyshawn Williams as well listed on the roster, and you've got Brandon Johnson also listed as a wide out. Plus, you got Lance McCutcheon and a guy by the name of Rock Taylor, which I think he's a special teamer. Fire Tomlin, yeah, Fritzy delivered it.
Fritzy, Mr. Dependable.
But Rock Taylor, what do we know about Rock Taylor? I heard could potentially be a special teamer as well.
I don't think he makes the team, either that or on the practice squad. I don't think.
Yeah. So
I mean, maybe just not this year. Maybe he comes back next year.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes back into the blender and comes out a little bit better. I don't know. It's just I don't think anybody is worthy other than the ones we've talked about making the roster.
Well, I mean, the people I've listed. I mean, it's not blowing any wind up your skirt. I got to be honest with you.
No, thank God. I
mean,
think his skirt is clean for tomorrow, though.
Right.
But, no, you're right, Billy. If this team does not go and scour the cut down day and look for that wideout, they're not going anywhere, man. I'm taking away.
Well, even somebody that hasn't signed yet.
No, they're not getting. He's signing. They ain't trading for him. They don't have the money. He's going to get 32.
Yeah.
But I just think that they have to go.
I mean, say it ain't so, Sheila's show. But I mean, I wish they could do something that make a splash here because they need to make a here at wideout. I mean, enough's enough. Enough's enough.
Yeah, they have no weapons that scare anybody. So all I'm going to do is the defense coordinator of every single team, every single week. DK, you're not getting anything.
Yeah.
Beat me with your Ben Skoraneks, your Calvin Austins,
your Robert Woods, yeah.
Again, I think our skirts are firmly on our legs. Yeah. They've not left our knees yet.
I tell you what, I looked at Ben Skoranek. I've been watching some of these I've been watching some of these condensed games, and in the early part of the season last year, Ben Skoranek got some balls thrown his way. He had some receptions in the early part of and then it kind of like they went away from him. They were just kind of like, nah, you're going to play special teams for the next 5 games. First 4 games he was yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what the plan is for him.
I think honestly, what they have to do really, they have to. This is going to be a real test of their scouting. Can you find that person that still has it that just missed out because of dollars and cents? Like how about a Mechie out of Texans, John Mechie?
Yeah, right.
There's players like that all around the league. Can they find that so-called diamond in the rough?
Well, listen,
they're not all in. I don't care what anybody says. Pat McAfee was drinking the Kool-Aid. Oh, they're all in. Come on, dude.
They're not all in.
They got old people is what they got.
Yeah.
And what did that guy say in the booth last night, in the press box last night? This is a great roster if it's 2020.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's not though. They've got to do something. They have to do something. And like I said, maybe Omar Khan does have something, waiting in the wings for us, but maybe he has a method to his madness. Maybe he is looking to scour and find that kind of a diamond in the rough guy that you could get that's, gonna, bolster up that wide receiver room a little bit. Because it needs it. There's definitely it definitely needs it.
Either that or they're platooning it. Like they're gonna put whichever player fits whatever kind of scheme they want to run that play, which I don't think that'll work very well.
Well, I'm still standing by my statement of Jonnu Smith. I think you're going to see him basically as your number 2. I really do. Like I said, he's not that mainline tight end. He's just not. And you can kind of plug and play those guys, those types of tight ends that are so prominent now in the NFL. You can kind of plug and play those guys, And I don't know. It's not your. I don't know. It's not your Tony Gonzalez of yesteryear. You don't have those mainline tight ends anymore. They're hard to find. So
They're hard to find.
they don't. No, I'm not hard to find. That they don't really exist anymore.
Right.
So
except for a couple.
Yeah. So. All right. Let's move on to another topic. Ed, I know you put this question together, and it was a very good question. What does Steelers style defense mean today, and does it still exist? Tracy, I want you to tackle this one first because I want to hear what you have to say with that.
What style defense are they running today?
And does it still exist? What I meant by that, they've always been a team that's been aggressive with their front five, right? Now that front five is aged, right? They're just aging out. Is that a good defense in this day and age? Does that still exist? Pressure with the five and rely on the back six to clean things up. What do you think, Josh?
I think so. The difference is, though, I don't know about their aging. Benton's only in his second year, third year, whatever. And then we just got that corner guy. He's a rookie, and they said he's dominating. We might have two guys in the first couple years here starting there. And as long as they start getting pressure up the middle, we'll start seeing the results we want to see. That's the difference we didn't have. Like, we were relying on TJ just to cut that edge down and whatnot, and Highsmith on his time too, but we never got a quarterback chased out of the middle, which is what they're trying to do with these guys. I think that's the style because they're trying to shoot gaps and whatnot, which is back when Big Snack was there, they just kind of went down the line of scrimmage to make sure they got 0 yardage every running play. And then whenever they realized it was a pass, Big Snack actually was able to push the center back and push him left or right. And that's what we've been missing.
But do you think that style works today? I mean, because not a lot of teams are running it. They're not. They're a lot more on their back end.
Yeah.
Talent mainly being in DBs.
I like LeBeau's style more, especially with guys like Lamar Jackson who can run the ball on a whim where you just kind of watch your gap and don't let them get any yardage, right? Yeah, so when you start knifing in and whatnot, that's when you create those seams.
Exactly. So is it better to face up 4 with more flexibility, or is it better to, because they're not rushing 5 every time. So is it better to tie up 4, close down those lanes and drop? I mean, what do you think?
I'm still a huge fan of the 3-4, but the linebackers still need as well,
Yeah.
Along with that nose guard.
I think they need to the 3-4. The traditional 3-4 that they run. I think I'm still like that. But here's the deal, you gotta. They kind of at this day and age, you kind of have that hybrid approach to the whole thing, right? You gotta blend the different elements. Okay, you make those just modern adjustments. You have to. Because
that's when you pull the nose guard out and you'll put that nickel back in, or
right.
Maybe a dime if you need to.
You have to. You have constant evolving on offense, right? Offensive strategies, they constant evolve.
Yep.
This day and age, and you still got to have a greater emphasis on nickel and dime packages. Yeah. And being able to utilize guys in certain roles, and that's what you got to do.
Especially given the fact that Watt's not dropping into coverage that often anymore.
Right.
I just think that they're not adapting fast enough.
Well, they still use that single high safety and man coverage. They still utilize that. They always do that. It's like a cover 1 and a cover 3.
Right.
That they're gonna try to be aggressive in man coverage. They're gonna try to drop some defenders back into zones, kind of support the pass rush. But sometimes they fall. Sometimes they've fallen short in games, especially games I've seen last year.
And that's the thing. That's what Julian Edelman banged on him. He said they do the exact same thing over and over again.
Correct.
I think they're relying too heavily. And I think most of the Steeler Nation is looking back in fondness of what it was in its heyday. It's not that anymore. Yeah. There's too many dynamic offenses in the league that force you. They bring out almost like a run and shoot, right? Yeah. And now they have the quarterback super athletic. So I think that if you don't adapt, you don't succeed. The Steelers remind me a lot of Clemson, who refuses to go into the transfer portal. This is the first year they spent, they went in the transfer portal and got some players. And I just think
they did beat the run and shoot, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you kind of. I mean, even though they have shortcomings on defense, also when you look at it, I mean, let's just kind of play
in the
devil's
playoffs.
let's just play devil's advocate here. They pretty much consistently rank among the league's best in some key statistical categories. Not all statistical categories, but sacks and takeaways. They still do a pretty good job on that. You know, I mean, they're not top tier, but they're still a little bit. They're still pretty high up there. So
Yeah, I just think that the fact that you're able to, I mean, I would run at Watt all the time because he's 264. Trap the D, trap the nose tackle, trap the D, the six technique, and then go right at him with pull a guard. I mean, that's devastating because he can't hold up to that.
We need a big year from TJ Watt. We need Cameron Hayward the year that he had last year. He needs to kind of replicate that this year.
We need Connor to work out this new defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I really think if he works out, I think we're going to see a huge change in our defense.
We know that blitzing and pressure. Steelers are known for employing creative blitz packages and aggressive blitz packages.
Yeah.
You've got Jalen Ramsey now, he was a blitzer in Miami. There's multiple things that they can use. It's all in how they use them. I don't know. I'm still,
it's still predicated on the old way that you have to get pressure for the defense to succeed. If you don't get pressure, the defense does not succeed. And that is endemic for everybody, but specifically the Steelers.
Well, and Tomlin has a lot of say so in this defense, but I'm still kind of like, I don't know. I'm still not real. I don't have a warm and fuzzy feeling with Terrell Austin. I really don't.
How could you when he's handicapped? I mean, he's handicapped by somebody who wants to hijack everything and be the hero.
Right. Well,
there's no room for hero ball, no room for hero coaching.
Yeah.
If you don't seed your control, it's just not going to work.
Well, you think they have a pretty strong front seven, or what do you think? I mean,
it's just, for me, it's incomplete at this point because your two best players are getting old. Hayward's really slowing down. Maybe the kid hits, maybe the kid doesn't hit. It's just too heavily based on absolute have to get pressure. Right. If they drop back in zone, I think they don't really have necessarily the most immense talent to succeed that way.
Yeah.
I think it's Benton to start, by the way. If our rookie starts, he might start over Cameron Hayward, but I think Benton's going to end up winning that job to start because he's a known commodity in there, and I think he's actually pretty safe and pretty darn good at it. But I still want to see what the two of them can do in the interior of a line. If they could start blowing some things up, that'd be really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next question. Mike Tomlin's no losing season streak. Is it masking deeper roster issues, in your opinion? Ed?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the sacrifice for a record that means absolutely nothing. It's absurd. If it meant
like quarterback,
if every year they were in the conference championship, I would champion his streak of non-losing seasons. I really would. But there's no point to it because it's not getting you anywhere.
Well,
celebrating mediocrity.
Exactly.
Trace, speak to me. What do you think?
Celebrating mediocrity. I don't care about that record.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I here's what I care about, guys. I care about lack of playoff success.
Lombardi.
That's what I care about. Yeah.
I mean, there's just at some point in time they're going to have to realize what the common denominator is, and when they make that choice, it's going to be better.
Yeah.
Load up for Lombardi's reset.
You haven't won a playoff game since 2016. You haven't won a playoff game since 2016. You've had some regular season consistency. I'll give you that. But a very long losing streak. Haven't won a playoff game since 2016. And I would argue that talent level isn't sufficient for sustained deep playoff runs, in my opinion. I mean, I'm stating the obvious.
Stability at the most important position,
right?
And success, and that success means.
Well, I'm just saying their talent level in general, it's not sufficient to sustain a deep playoff run, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, this segues right into what I was talking about with the wideouts. Roster limitations, right?
Huge.
Rasta.
Tomlin has consistently kept the Steelers competitive. Okay, great. But you're doing so with rosters that really lack top tier talent, in my opinion. And I mean, that isn't more evident than on offense. Say no more. I mean, for me.
You're absolutely right, because of the fact that even with the DK Metcalf, he's on the older side. Had you got him a couple years ago, paired him with a young quarterback, then you got something going.
I mean, Ed, you mentioned a little bit earlier about the loss last year against the Ravens. Despicable loss, and so mediocrity. You mentioned it too, Trace. Mediocrity in playoff games. How many times have they been routinely outmatched and basically embarrassed in the playoffs? I mean, let's call a spade,
and often outcoached.
Yeah, and you see the gap in talent, the gap in talent and execution compared to some of these other teams, your true Super Bowl contenders like the Chiefs. I mean, you see the gap in talent, So, but
it's pretty obvious. There's one common denominator.
Speaking of gap of talent, too, didn't Mahomes only hit 98 overall in that game?
You're right, he did.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you another thing, too, that I've noticed in playoffs, too. There's too much of a reliance on scheme as well. And what I mean by that, when you look at Tomlin's coaching style, it's kind of like that. What do you call it? Like a kind of a risk / averse, focused on you trying to avoid making mistakes, controlling the time of possession. That's all well and good. That's great in the regular season. I mean, that wins you football games in the regular season. But when you get to the playoffs, you're in that high pressure playoff situation, you need to be more aggressive, and you just haven't seen
far more dynamic.
Right. You just haven't seen.
I like the word dynamic versus aggressive there, Billy.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's the unexpected. When you get to the playoffs, literally, you should do anything you have to do. If you have to have the quarterback kick a field goal, do it. I mean, you do anything you can.
You like Randall coming around, throwing it on end around type thing, right?
Exactly. To Hines Ward streaking through the end zone.
That's
survive in advance, and they don't do that. They just don't do that. And Billy, you're right. I mean, the talent gap is so evident at sometimes.
Yeah.
But you figure if we're quote unquote novices, we've been doing this for a couple of years. If we're able to notice that, if our fans are able to notice that, then you have right.
It's not a secret anymore.
Michael's chiming in. Who is wide receiver number 2? Very good question. I mean,
we think it's Woods, right? Is that what we're saying, boys?
No, I think it could be Calvin Austin III. I think really, truthfully, like I said, you don't have your mainline tight ends anymore. It could very easily be Jonnu Smith. That's a very good question. So,
I mean, and again, it all boils down to how you're coached.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, well, and I'm going to say this too. I think that there's been some questionable things that I've seen, traits, if you will, in talent development as well. I think, they haven't consistently developed enough young talent to replenish rosters. I mean, you're seeing that at the quarterback position right now, right? I mean, you go and you say that Kenny Pickett's going to be your next guy to replace Ben, and that, just didn't come to fruition.
But you also
other things.
You also look at Tracy's point when he said somebody who can play, suitable or, play some sort of level at left tackle. That goes back to not having any choices because you're not able to draft well when it comes to linemen. Where's that 3rd or 4th round pick that's been busting his hump, waiting for that opportunity where the coaching staff can go, you know what, we're going to give Sirocco a chance. He comes in and he dominates, right? That puts pressure on
Finney, right? Where's that Finney at? Remember that guy we had not too long ago?
And that puts the pressure on Broderick Jones. And then you know what you have. Either you're going to, or get off the pot. And right now he's getting off the pot. I'm sorry. He just
Max Stark's another example of that.
Yeah. Well, he was a higher pick than that.
Yeah.
But yeah. And he's also
all right.
315.
They also picked him up off the street at one point, remember?
Yeah.
All right, let's shift from the Steelers to the Penguins here. I like the signing of Matt Dumba. I said that last week. You taking on his $3.75 million cap hit. You traded that 2028 second round pick to get him. I like it. You gotta try to get rid of, in my opinion. Dubas. I don't know. He's trying to shed all these veteran players to free up cap space. I think you got to look at getting rid of Ricard Raquel. And I think you got to look at getting Brian Rust, and for the love of God, Eric Carlson, and maybe even get rid of that terrible goaltender that you have in Tristan Jarry.
That's true.
Yeah, John. So far, he is healthy, but like I said, they were talking at camp, and one of the guys who's been watching, they had a panel of guys who's been one of the. I don't know who it was. I forget. It might have been Mike Williams. Had said, the one thing I've noticed about Roman Wilson is I haven't really noticed him. So that could be an issue. So
I just don't think he was worthy of the third round pick. He wasn't that good at Michigan.
No,
they're not a throwing team.
No, he wasn't. I agree with that. I agree with that. Everybody looked at him and they're like, "Oh, this was a great pickup." He didn't play it down. He gets hurt. Doesn't play it down last year, and so. But yeah, I think they need to get rid of those three. What do you think? Or those four? What do you guys think?
I think they got to figure out the goaltending. Again, one of the most important positions in that sport.
Yeah. And then you got to build from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too.
Lewin Carlson would be good. Jarry, really good.
I
don't know what you ever saw in him, Billy.
You shut up about that. Enough's enough about that. You know what I saw? I saw that he sucks. I saw in 2021 that he cost them single-handedly. He cost them the playoffs against the Islanders, and you should have parted ways with him after that.
They had a good lunch.
Thanks to Burke and Hextall, and then dumbass Dubas signs him to a 5-year flipping deal. How on earth, just stupidity. I mean, it's.
I was surprised they didn't move Carlson at the trade deadline, even for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, just to get him off the squad, And I mean, Ricard Raquel, Brian Rust, I would move both those guys too. So
yeah, totally.
There's still reports out there about Mario Lemieux and his partners exploring a return to ownership. I hope it happens because this FSG has been a disaster. I said it, people lambaste me, "Oh, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. FSG is going to turn this franchise around. They're going to put so much money in them." Yeah, well, explain. Tell me what they've done thus far.
Yeah, how does it
I'm
look
waiting.
for kids?
Yeah, I'm waiting. Please tell me because I'm waiting. Because But all right, let's talk. I know one of the other questions we wanted to talk. What is the emotional cost of seeing the core age? And do fans want to rebuild or do they want to last run? Let me. Well, go ahead, Trace. I want you to tackle that first. You
rebuild.
Tell me what you think.
Totally want to rebuild. I enjoyed our players for a very long time, but all good things must come to an end. We've seen this in the 90s. We had trouble with this. We've seen Detroit had trouble with this, right? Even Colorado. There just comes a point you got to make a decision that you got to start getting younger.
Right, and I think that. What do you think, Ed?
I 100% could not agree more with anybody. It is just it should have been done, flipped a while ago, and that's what causes them to be just mired in not even mediocrity, but below mediocrity, just mired in nonsense. So,
I think the biggest problem for me, with a lot of fans, and I'm one of them, and I'm guilty of it as much as anybody else is nostalgia and gratitude. You when you're somebody like me, it's watched Penguins hockey since 1984 when Lemieux. I mean, I was 4 years old when I started watching hockey, and when Lemieux came, I mean, that's really when I started paying attention. But many fans acknowledge and they appreciate what the guys have done, and this trio has been amazing. They've had unparalleled success. I'm going to say that they really have. When you look at the multiple Stanley Cups in the years of competitive hockey that they've played, the thought of the era ending for as long as it's bittersweet for a lot of people, including myself. However, I also know that when one chapter closes, another one opens. And, I think there's too much of nostalgia and gratitude with a lot of people. Maybe even people in the front office are guilty of that. I don't know. FSG, I don't think gives it two shits about
Well,
anything
I
like
think
that.
it's naturally the uncertainty of the box office, right?
Yeah.
What's it going to do to putting fans in the seats, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, and also the declining in performance of the big three, of Crosby, I think still plays at a high level, but Malkin and Letang have fallen off. I mean, they used to be important players, and they used to have, it was all collective and individual and collective performance. But as they have aged, they've really declined, and as of everybody who ages, you decline. But I mean, when you couple that with lack of playoff success in recent years, and they've had a lot of that, it's just And I think another thing is the uncertainty and the fear of the future. The prospect of a future without Sidney Crosby and Letang. I mean, that's just sometimes too much for people to handle. And I almost think that like FSG just they want to put they think that this whole keeping this core and this nostalgia is putting butts in the seats. And I think that train has run its last course, if you ask me.
Well, that very evident, especially since they stopped selling out. When they stopped selling out is when they sort of made that move.
Exactly. I mean, I work the arena. I see I take a peek out there and I see what's going on in the seats and who's there. And it's I mean, it's not that nostalgia thing is starting to wear off. It really is. People want to win. They want a winner. I mean, I think you for a fan, you gotta be able to face the inevitable, and you gotta I mean, hey, they have a plethora of draft picks. Why not have a little bit of a hope of a brighter future with new talent? I mean, that's just how I'm in favor of a rebuild. By the way, I think holding on to these core players indefinitely only slows the whole process, and it only delays the inevitable, and I think it worsens the team's long-term prospects, guys. I think it worsens it. I think you just gotta prioritize acquiring draft picks, which they have. They've had a surplus of them. God, they've stacked them up like freaking hotcakes, for crying out loud. I think you got to prioritize acquiring draft picks. You got to develop your young players, and you got this coach. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. They claim he's a youth hockey whisperer. Well, let's see. Let's see what he can do. So because he's coaching the oldest team right now in the league. Okay, so let's shed in veteran leadership. It might be a good idea if Dubas does that a little bit, right? I mean, would I love to see a last run? Sure. Is it going to happen? No. I mean, that's like. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. So it's just not going to happen. Too much time has passed. Too much declining in, like I said, in that core, and it's not going to happen anymore. You just got to face that. And so, all right, another question here: Has Crosby quietly become the most beloved athlete in Pittsburgh history?
Ooh,
Trace,
possibly, but he's not. I don't know that he's rivaled Roberto.
Yeah, but what did Roberto do?
Well, Roberto not only played and brought some life to us in baseball, but then sacrificed himself in helping people, and that's how he passed. That's like immortalized, man. Like, I don't know how Crosby ever does that.
We're not talking about humanitarian. Yes, that was tragic, but we're talking sports. As callous.
Yeah, but still, nobody else has been celebrated by Roberto around here.
Well, maybe that's a Pittsburgh problem then, because I think he's. I mean, honestly, that's why I put the question on there, because I think he's probably the most celebrated, and because he was clean on and off the ice.
Yeah. I think it's very subjective. Okay.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I think it's very subjective.
Lemieux also to Billy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Billy, but let's rewind what you said about you started watching when Lemieux came to the Penguins, and I think that was huge for the Pittsburgh thing. And I'm not sure Crosby's even surpassed Lemieux with that.
Well, that's what I was going to. I think it's very subjective to me, being 45 years old and watching Lemieux all my life, and then having the young kid come and really Lemieux take him under his wing, and I think he's. I don't know that I would be as comfortable saying that he's the most beloved athlete in Pittsburgh history, in at least the modern era as of right now. Yes, absolutely. I think reasons being he's incredibly popular and respected, not just for his on ice achievements, but also he's a good guy. He's got good character. He's he's done a lot of things for them. I mean, when you look at on ice excellence, I mean, I can rattle off some of the things he's done. Multiple Stanley Cups, multiple Hart trophies, multiple Art Ross trophies, Conn Smythe, playoff MVPs. I mean, he's consistently been one of the best players in the NHL for nearly 2 decades. Let's face it. He's known for his leadership. He's known for his work ethic and sportsmanship, even sportsmanship as well. He's respected by a lot of his teammates. He's respected by a lot of opponents. And, subsequently, he's also respected by a lot of fans, even fans that don't like him. They still respect him, And I think when you look at it, Lemieux saved the franchise in '84, did it again in 2000, or I'm sorry, did it? Well, yeah, I mean he did, did it again in 2000 when he bought the franchise, and I think that. Some would argue that Sidney Crosby was also crucial in saving the Penguins franchise. He's been the face of the team, guys, since he's arrived. And, hey, he's got 3 Stanley Cups to show for it. And like I said, multiple awards. I just named some of them. So,
and Lemieux came back at that time, too, when he started, right? Just to revive it. I think Lemieux is above there. But I think Sid has solidified himself. He never has to really work again. He just has to show up and wave his hands.
I would say that to me it goes Mario, Roberto, and then Crosby. I mean, I feel like that. I mean, it's just Mario has had such a when you look at it. I mean, look at what Mario not only saved the franchise as a player, he saved them as an owner. I mean, look at what all he's done. I mean, the guy built freaking Children's Hospital practically. I mean, he's done so much for this city. It's unbelievable.
But then you can't take away from Joe Green turning a franchise around neither and winning 4 Super Bowls.
Well, I mean, you could add Terry Bradshaw into that as well.
You can, because he's never lost a big one.
You could add Chuck Noll as the coach of those teams. You could add a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things. But I mean, I look at Pirates. I mean, Roberto I think is number 1. I mean, and Willie Stargell I think is right up there as well.
Bill Mazeroski.
Bill Mazeroski's there. Yeah, Bill Mazeroski is there. I mean, going back, a long time ago, Honus Wagner was
responsible for one of the most expensive baseball cards.
Right. I mean, without Honus Wagner, who knows where the Pirates would have been? I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just saying. So I don't know. All right, let's move on to the Pirates. So some stuff happened real quickly. Ke'Bryan Hayes is gone. They've reportedly traded a Golden Glove winner to the Cincinnati Reds for reliever Taylor Rogers and a shortstop prospect Sammy Stafura.
That's so funny. So, they were just saying that last night, that they collect shortstops.
Yeah. I want to say this about Ke'Bryan Hayes. Strong defender. Really struggled offensively. I'm gonna tell you what now. He was an anchor on offense, and I don't mean that in a good way. He was the reason why the ship was sinking. He was part of the. He just I don't know. There's just a lot of. Yeah, I mean,
but he's automatic on defense, Billy.
Yeah, but I mean, what do I always say?
That you love Dari.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Not worth it. Not with that one.
No, not when you're hitting 236 with 2 home runs this year. I mean, that's just not. It's not going to get it done.
It's not it. Definitely not it.
No, and I mean, plus, hey, let's also add the chronic back issues that he's had. That's kept him out of the line. Let's also add that.
I like Triolo more than him at this point.
Yeah, I think we've got what? We've got literally what? It's at 6 p.m. tomorrow, so we've got literally what? 21 hours.
Yep.
So we got 21 hours to the trade deadline. I think they're going to be sellers, guys. I think you're going to look at. I think you're. I think you're looking. And here's another thing. I think your rental guys are gone. I think you're going to deal probably Tommy Pham. I think he's gone. I think possibly your couple left-handed pitchers. You got that Andrew Heaney and Caleb Ferguson. I think are gone. I think IKF is going to be gone. He's in the last year of his 2-year deal. I think he's going to be moved as well. I think possibly you might see even David Bednar getting moved. I know there's been some, listen, David Bednar and Mitch Keller, their stock isn't going to be higher than what it is right now, okay? Especially Mitch Keller. His stock's not going to be higher than what it is right now. I mean, if
they're not exactly going to win it, so let's move these guys, right?
Well, we talked about this before. Any team that looks at Keller this year, he's been an innings eater, is going to want that. Any competitive team is going to want that. So, like I said, and David Bednar has played better, and I think you got to sell high when these guys are, you got to sell high, And I mean, you've got David Bednar. I heard the Yankees are interested in the Blue Jays, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Mets, and the Padres. Phillies have been the front runner, actually. They said, and he's a bolster. He can bolster a bullpen. I think you move him, and like I said, his stock's not going to be higher. And for the love of God, Mitch Keller's stock isn't going to be higher either. Bless you.
Thank you. Totally agree.
He's not going to be he's not going to be his stock's not going to get any higher than what it is now. So, but all right, real quick. What's it going to really take for the Pirates to turn apathy into belief? What's it really going to take?
MLB stepping in.
Well,
I
know you need a floor and a ceiling. Yeah,
but also if you look again, I know most people hate the product of the NBA, but look at the NBA. They stepped in with the Clippers. They stepped in with the Pelicans. They overtook the 76ers. They know how to do it. When a team is floundering and ruining the overall product, it's no different than a failing store, right? Yeah. When one of your stores is failing, what do? You have to go do something. You have to intercede. And I think that Colorado Rockies, Miami Marlins, Pittsburgh Pirates, you have to step in and say, look, this is it. You're an embarrassment to the product. Yep. At least the Rockies and Marlins have won a World Series, right? And, or to come close. But I just think they need to step in and say, this is what it's going to be. We're going to have a floor. The floor is going to be $180 million. The ceiling, the ceiling is going to be $330, but everybody over $250 is going to pay a hefty tax. They have to be, again, progressive. They're losing to the banana ball people.
Right. For me, and it's never going to happen as long as Bob Nutting is involved, is financial investment. We got to see some evidence. We got to see some evidence that ownership is willing to invest in the team in both terms of acquiring talent and retaining key players. Okay.
Like Paul Skeens. We need to see them resign Paul Skeens.
Right. Increase your payroll and, signing proven free agents. That's very crucial in winning me back because it's going to take a lot to win me back. And, but no, I just think that's number one. And as long as MLB's set up the way it is and Bob Nutting's the owner, it's not going to happen, folks.
Again, I go back to 2015, 2016. What was wrong with that? What did he see that was wrong with that he had to stop doing that?
I don't know.
Right? He had youth. He had
talent.
Question
to ask him. We ever get media credentials for the Pirates, which we may have here I would ask him that straight up. Bob, what did you see in that you didn't like?
Right, in that playoff run.
In that playoff run.
Did you hate the fact that the stadium was packed? Did you hate that?
Yeah.
It's just.
Did that suck that it was exciting and fun to watch?
Yeah. Did it suck that you made Johnny Cueto drop the ball because you were training his
right. All that energy in the stadium, must have been terrible for everybody there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cash flow was up. Everybody was happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's not do that again.
Yeah. You maximized because you had youth.
All right. Hey, Pitt football started camp today. So just to let you guys know. Actually, no, I apologize. It was yesterday they started camp.
Thank you, sir.
So
we're doozy's charge, huh? The last hoorah.
I heard they recruited a 4-star offensive lineman too.
Oh yeah. So can he play left tackle?
I don't know, maybe.
We're in the same building.
And then Pittman's basketball added a top Australian prospect, Roman Solipia, to their roster. So there you go.
Solipia, you telling me?
So where?
From Australia.
From Australia. So yeah, I mean, hey, literally, we're 1 month away from Pitt football against Duquesne. 1 month away. And I think next week we'll get into Pitt football a little bit in more in depth. Now that they've had a week under week of practice. So all right, let's talk a little Riverhounds before we leave. Last night, Ed and I were there. We were covering the game. We were shocked. We could not believe it. Charles All with that late goal to tie it up, and they played to a draw. Unbelievable. I didn't even see that coming. It was phenomenal.
It looked like a nothing cross, and he just wanted it more.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. Goalkeeper played a great game. Eric Dick, he played an amazing game. He was lights out. I asked Bob Lilly that. I said, listen, he made a lot of plays last night. I said a lot of crucial saves. What's your overall assessment to this point of him? And he was very, I think, I asked him kind of that same question earlier in the season, and Ed was there, and he kind of was like, critical. I don't want to say it. He was very critical of him. He said he lacked consistency. Basically. Last night, if you watch our if you've seen our write up, and we embedded the Bob Lilly press conference in there, he was more favorable. I mean, I think he likes him a lot more. I mean, not to say that he likes him more. I just think he's happier overall with the way he's played this season, and he's been consistent this season, and I think that's kind of what was Bob Lilly's biggest
issue he had with him. Yeah.
Maybe hang up with him was that he was up, and then he was down. Like there was no in between with him, and
no tweener.
No tweener, baby.
Got a tough one against Rhode Island on Saturday at home, but I mean a winnable game. I think what do you think, Ed?
Well, they beat him at Rhode Island. Yeah. They lost at home to them in the Jägermeister Cup.
Right.
And both games were 1-0. So I think it's anybody's game. And I think the Riverhounds are a much better place than Rhode Island is.
Chowder sounds good, doesn't it?
The chowder.
You see a lot of consistency.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, last night points. I mean, last night it was amazing in the final seconds of stoppage time, how we went from this was a terrible game to holy cow, they tied it up. It was just amazing. And you owe that to
5,000 fans, over 5,000 fans on a Tuesday. Trace.
Right. And you own that to Charles. I mean, Charles All, great goal. I mean, like you said, he wanted it more. He wanted it more, and it was just it was great. It was great. I mean that literally that press box I thought was gonna
fall over.
Yeah, that was gonna come down. I mean, it was shaking that bad. It was just people were going nuts.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, he could have blown that whistle at any time. The ref.
Yeah, 94-47.
Yeah, and it was just amazing that he got that late goal. I mean, just an absolute, absolute heart stopper that we really haven't seen thus far this season.
So you taking Dick or Mertz for POI? It's hard to pass.
It's hard to pass. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, Mertz has been really consistent. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, Mertz
17 sheets,
and so is Dick.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you
overlook Dick, Trace?
Yeah.
I agree. Him and Mertz. Sounds fantastic. What a couple.
I mean, I'm serious. That's very tough. I don't even know what I wouldn't even know how to really.
I think it's a dead heat between those two right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think probably I would maybe give the slight edge to Mertz.
Yeah, I mean, they both can have supreme impact on the game, but if he comes up with another couple clean sheets, I think he's in the front seat.
I do too. I really do. I'm with you. I think it's he kept them in that game last night, and I told Bob Lilly that, and he agreed. He's like, I totally agree. He kept them in that game. I mean, it's so John. I missed the comment. John had a lot of caps team to spin. I think Carl. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he should have went last year to trade
At
deadline.
the deadline, I know.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back at it next week. Hope you like the new logo. We got a new logo here. So, join us tomorrow night. We will be doing Gridiron Weekly tomorrow night at 7 p.m. right before the Hall of Fame game. Hall of Fame game kicks off at 8 p.m. We'll be
That's how football
doing
trades.
that. Can't believe it. It's great.
Made it.
It's great. Yeah. So my
Good
my
job,
brother-in-law.
everybody.
Yeah, my brother. I was telling my brother-in-law. You know, my one niece doesn't really like football, and he's like, I'm gonna rub it in her face that this Thursday, last week was the last Thursday till February that
We got football.
You're right. So great. I mean, I'm just so happy. So glad football's back.
Heck
yeah. Tune in tomorrow night. We'll be talking gridirons. We'll be Gridiron Weekly. Tune into it. We'll have a good show for you tomorrow night. So a lot of stuff brewing with NCAA and NFL, and we'll get into it. So, but thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.